Happy Tom presenting an interview on my channel, Alcohol Free. I am going to talk with adult men and women who used to use alcohol. Many of them also use drugs and smoke cigarettes. The whole purpose of the interview is to discuss what their lifestyle of alcohol use was like. These people are now sober. Our hope is that young men and women who are considering drinking or have already started using alcohol will listen and learn about the realities of it. My hope is that they will never drink alcohol. If they have started, then my hope is that they will quit and never resume. Now to our talk. Our guest today is my friend Pete. How are you doing today, Pete?
I'm doing fine, Tom. Thanks for asking.
Okay. You do not drink alcohol now. Why is that?
The reason why I don't drink today is I abstain from any alcohol in any form. Food, aftershave,
You're alcohol free.
deodorant.
Yeah.
Right?
What is your sobriety date?
December 27th, 1997.
So you've been sober how long?
23 years.
That's great. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing and family life, as much as you're comfortable with.
Sure. I grew up in a little town with 3 sisters and 1 brother, so there were 5 of us. My dad was a professional person, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And didn't seem to have too many problems. Had lots and lots of love from my family, both my sisters and brother and my parents.
So you got along and you had a great time, it sounds like.
We got along and we had the best time that we could have. It seemed like alcohol was present in our upbringing and in my young and adult life, yes.
Oh. So who was using alcohol in that group?
My mother.
Your mother.
Right.
Okay. Did she have a problem with alcohol?
I don't think so. She drank just fine.
Good. And so not everyone that drinks alcohol develops a problem with it.
I believe so. That's correct.
I would agree with you. Do you think that your younger life had anything to do with your drinking alcohol?
No.
Okay. So your upbringing didn't have any influence on that. When did you start drinking alcohol?
The first time I incurred alcohol, I was about 8 or 10. Not quite sure. I went to a rope swing with my brother and a friend, and we had a 6-pack, and we all shared a couple of beers.
I'm going to ask you, Pete, what's a rope swing?
Rope swing?
It's like you swing out and jump into the river or something, or lake?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That sounds like fun. And you had shared a little bit of beer between you.
Right.
You didn't get drunk, I don't imagine.
I felt that I was tipsy.
Tipsy.
Yeah.
Okay. How did your drinking progress for you?
So for me, what I thought to be normal was a beer between my leg at age 16.
So you started drinking more consistently at age 16?
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to cater parties, going to high school parties. When I could drive, it was not abnormal for me to have an open container between my legs.
Yeah, at that time it was not uncommon.
But at that time, it was still legal.
Illegal, yeah. Okay. But it wasn't, like when I was growing up, the big push to stop people driving and drinking didn't come about until Mothers Against Drunk Driving was formed. Tell us a little bit about your overall drinking career.
So I started at age 8 or 10. Then when I had more opportunities, 14, 15, started going to high school parties, would drink off of the weekends. Age 16, I was a heavy drinker until age 35 when I stopped.
You were a heavy drinker even at age 16?
Yes.
Wow. So you must have had some availability to it.
Correct.
Did you have good times while you were drinking alcohol?
Yeah.
What percentage of the times you were drinking alcohol did you have good times?
Well, until they became bad times. So probably in my late teens, 20s, it seemed like I was bulletproof, Tom. So I didn't have problems.
Yeah, so that's a good word to use, bulletproof. You were just protected and you had 100% good times and it was rock and roll.
It was.
So when did you start to have any problems?
Probably when my body was being affected negatively by it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And what sort of problems did you have?
Well, I wasn't the parent that I wanted to be. I wasn't the son to my parents that I wanted to be. I wasn't the employer that I wanted to be. I wasn't the employee to the firm that I wanted to be. I was drunk all the time.
Oh, okay. So the drinking became more and more progressive and it started to affect you more and more. And I don't want to put words in your mouth. Did it seem like more and more of your life became involved with drinking?
As I described before, when I was 16, I thought it normal to have a beer between my legs.
Yes.
And so what happened, in retrospect, after I got sober at age 35, looking back, there was no normalcy to my drinking.
Yeah.
My drinking was, there was a need to fill a hole.
Yes.
And I had a hole in my stomach, and I drank alcohol, like one would drink water.
Oh, I see.
Just without.
Did you develop legal problems with alcohol?
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
How about physical health problems? Did you develop any physical health problems?
Yeah, at the very end, I was bloated. I was weakened. I was all sorts of things happened negatively.
Yes.
You might say.
How about mental health problems?
No.
No, you were pretty sound mentally. Now you described this hole in yourself.
Yeah.
You're laughing because you probably, in retrospect, you probably had some mental health problems.
Well, and what I've learned about heavy drinking and alcoholism is that there's a spiritual malady.
Yes.
And so really it didn't have to do with my mental state. It had to do with my spiritual state.
The things you can't see that are in your life. Right. So what was the final thing that made you decide, I've had it with booze?
And I'll use the term that I used before. I wasn't the man that I wanted to be. I wasn't the son that I wanted to be. I wasn't the husband that I wanted to be. And I knew that I had something that was in the way of that. And it was alcohol. And I just didn't know how to stop.
So was there some event, you're describing a lot of things. Was there some, just I'm trying to pick out, was there some real big event that just said, tipping point that said, I've had it with this stuff?
Yes. Probably the event that happened for me was I was in a divorce. I was unable to maintain employment. I was unable to maintain housing.
Okay.
So you would call that a bottom.
A bottom. That's a good term and helpful for our listeners. How about smoking? Did you do any smoking?
I chewed tobacco for about 12 years.
Okay. How about other drugs?
Anything that could change the way I felt, I used.
But your best one that you always fell back on was alcohol.
That's correct.
Okay. So if you'd known back at age 16 what alcohol was going to do with your life, and this is a very hard hypothetical question, do you think you would have ever started drinking at age 16?
So if I knew what was going to happen to my life at age 16 in regards to alcohol, I don't know if so I'm going to answer that question this way. So I have no clue what's going to happen today.
Yes.
So I'm going to just apply myself to life on life's terms.
Yes.
The best that I can. So if you guys are doing cocaine, I'm not going to partake. If you guys are drinking booze, I'm not going to partake.
Yeah.
And so and that's what the people that I were around were doing.
Yeah.
And so I was partaking with it.
I see.
And so today it's not a part of my life.
Well, I've had the great good fortune of knowing you for quite some time. And the thing that sets you apart to me is that you're so based in practicality and you're so accepting and you're so in tune with your spirituality. And I really appreciate that. You've helped me a lot. Now, this is kind of a difficult question, but what words of wisdom concerning alcohol would you give to anyone that's considering starting to drink alcohol? You know, a young man, young woman, what would you say to them?
I would say, like I say to my children, you have to do something that makes you happy. Mm-hmm. And so if you were to ask me, would I change anything in my past? I'd say absolutely not. I would not go back and change anything.
Why is that?
Because my past is the greatest asset I have.
That's kind of a hard asset. I mean, a hard position to understand, but later on we're going to talk to people about their recovery.
Right.
Do you have any final words that you'd like to share?
It's been wonderful to get to know both you and Eric.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you, Pete, for sharing your thoughts and experience with alcohol. We appreciate you being willing to help other people like you've always done. We're going to be interviewing other people and encourage our listeners to look for our future interviews. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and please leave your comment about your thoughts and experiences about our interviewee and about your thoughts about alcohol. Let us know if you want to be interviewed. I'm more than happy to do that. Goodbye for today.